So I always tell people building your digital presence is like building a house. We all know, right? We're in the real estate space. We're in the buying property space. You can make a really terrible house and do it for cheap and like kind of put it there, but like, there's going to be problems. My job is to make the house really powerful, really solid one time. Then once that's strong, then you can add all the extras. So I figure out like their house is their digital presence, what's missing, let's fix up that first, then everything's going to become easier for you.
I always like to start my podcast off with, you suddenly lose everything. What would you do?
Well, I've lost everything many times. So that ain't a new feeling for me. So, multiple countries, multiple different industries, just like the people listening, it isn't just like that. It's like this, it stays like this for too long. I always start with action. So when I feel like I feel lost or cash flow is not as good as it wants to be, or I'm losing client, like whatever the problem is, I'm like, okay, take my phone out, start dialing. Because that feeling of like action, even if the call doesn't go anywhere, you kind of need momentum. Like I always tell my clients, like it's easier to sprint if you're jogging, but like most people are sitting crawling. I'm like, just get up, start jogging, and then you'll go faster. So if I lost everything again, and I probably will again throughout my life, right? I'm not afraid of losing everything. It's like, okay, let me just like, what's the most important part to get to a goal, which is usually income, cash.
Yeah, perfect. So the first step you mentioned, you'd probably get dialing. Who would you dial and why?
Yeah, I would. The biggest thing is I would probably start with, like, I've gone through this multiple times. I always start with, okay, out of my whole Rolodex, like who is the person right now? I'd go to the people that have given me money in the past, right? Or the people that know everyone. Like who has the biggest influence and who's given me money in the past. That's how I would start. Like because at the end of the day, we've only got a certain amount of time and we've only got a certain amount of bandwidth throughout the day. So I'm like, okay, it's kind of like, here's a better way to tell you, sometimes when you lose track of the day, or those days just aren't as tight for you and you've got 2 hours, you got a window and you just knock it out. Like I'm always thinking, okay, if I only had 2 hours left in the day to get to a result, what would I do? It becomes very clear on like what's the most important activity. So I would hit the person that's given me money before, or the person who has the most influence to introduce me to someone.
Gotcha. Okay, so you would get connected and talk to people that you have already established the financial decision with. And what would be your objective personally? What would you look to accomplish?
You get clients. That's really it. People, well, what do we, clients and cash flow. That's really it. Clients equals cash flow, which equals choices. So like, it's really at the end of the day, okay, as someone says that we all know, like who's got my money, right? Whether you like Cardone or you don't like Cardone, it's a really good frame. It's like, you're right. Like, okay, where is the cash right now? Who do I go to call? How do I make it easy on myself as well? Like at the end of the day, don't make it hard for yourself to get a win. Little wins add up to big wins. So I'm not going to start calling the hardest person I know to try to get on a phone call with. It's like, I just start rolling. And I'm actually doing that right now. We lost a big client last month. That was unexpected, right? Hands up in the air. I'm not afraid to tell people how things are, even with a global agency in 10 countries. Like things happen. Like, okay, so I wasn't expecting that. I didn't lose everything, but I lost a large chunk of cash flow, which I didn't think. So it's like, okay, well, I got to get that income back. I better go and figure out that part. So I'm in process like right now, actually.
That's awesome. So I want to now talk about more about what you offer your clients. What can a real estate investor accomplish with you?
Trust on a digital presence level. So what we do here at Ace of Spades is really give people the trust to get in the doors, to get money quicker, to get connections faster, to get people to be able to be like, yo, he's my guy. I'm ready to send 750 as the wire, because people Google you. Like people aren't taking a pretty face. They're not taking the best sales pitch. They may, But guess what? They may just do one search on you just before they send something out. Everybody has some kinds of feeling of we're humans. We feel the feeling of loss and risk, and everything in a way is a risk. You walk out of your house, it's kind of a risk, right? Because you don't know what's going to happen to you.
Yeah.
When it comes to working with people that are in VCs or raising money or real estate, how do we get you closer towards the prize? And a lot of people struggle of being able to raise money quicker. They struggle to get in front of investors. They struggle to find the perfect client because they don't know you. Like now they kind of push you off, and you're kind of like in the, send me the proposal, and you're kind of chasing them where you don't need to after you work with me as much. Because if I can raise your profile, meaning if I can make you known, trustworthy, the sales cycle becomes super short. Like now you're just dealing with, okay, it's really a them problem. Do they feel like, is your offer good for them to invest in? Are they ready, kind of thing? But you're not dealing with a trust issue. Like the value exchange is different. Anytime I get on a call with people now, I've never had anyone say to me, I don't trust you, ever. Because my profile is so powerful. I do what I say. So to your question, I help other people, whether you're a real estate investor, whether you are raising money. It doesn't matter what you look like or what you sound like. If your digital presence, meaning when you Google someone, is like tight, you're in the press, you're on television, your social media is good, you have good reviews, like everything becomes easier for you. So that's kind of what I do. I help really people convert themselves to get what they want.
That's amazing. I would like to go in a little bit deeper just to kind of understand, and the listener also. Can you tell us about simple standard procedures you would do that like somebody would coming in would need to do with you in order to start that process?
Yeah, well, firstly, I want to know why. Before we go out and look at the tactics, I want to know why, because I want to know your true core motivator of what you want. Because if I don't know the why, and I'm not talking about like, why do you want to be known? I want to know, like, I don't know if you heard of Simon Sinek, but like there is these things where he asks you the why question. Mm-hmm. I'm really big. I try to get people as uncomfortable as I can at the beginning because they need to understand that. They need to understand, listen, if I don't know your true core reason or enough of it, I can't help you. And secondly, like, are you ready to put yourself out there? Here's all the best things about it, but here's all the nasty things about it. Mm-hmm. I'm quick to push people off first before to be like, hey, I have all the services. I can help you. Here's all the clients. I just want to make sure that you are ready completely. Here's how much you should be looking at spending, whether it's with me or whether it's with anyone else. Here's what the rejection is going to come. Here's what can happen. So I'm quick on putting all the feelings up front, so at least they're educated. Then the tactics of second step is, let's look at your Google presence. So I'll get on a Zoom with them and I'm like, let's just see what the internet says about you. I'm just the messenger. Like, let me see. And their reviews will be weak. Their website's terrible. They have a terrible social media presence. And they're wondering why maybe that guy they sent the proposal to last week isn't getting back to them. Is it your proposals bad, or do you look bad? But you won't know that. So why don't we just raise it and help you so it becomes easier?
Gotcha. I'm starting to understand. Now, what's the next step? After we find the why, the listener finds the why, what comes after?
Well, yeah, as I mentioned, so figuring out what needs to be solved. So I always tell people, building your digital presence is like building a house. We all know, right? We're in the real estate space. We're in the buying property space. Mm-hmm. You can make a really terrible house and do it for cheap and like kind of put it there, but like, there's going to be problems. My job is to make the house really powerful, really solid one time. Then once that's strong, then you can add all the extras. So I figure out like their house is their digital presence, what's missing, let's fix up that first, then everything's going to become easier for you. So I'm big on not telling people, I just show them. Like, look at your own presence. And guess what? They're like, oh my gosh, I need to fix this. I'm like, great. hi, I can do that for you.
Gotcha. Okay. So the why, then you help them understand where they're at and help them get to where where they want to
Yeah,
be.
well, yeah, I always, where people want to go, man, a lot of people don't know. Very, very few people are very clear on like, I want this, I know why, I know how it's going to work. Like they're called like the fun clients or my favorite clients because they're very clear on what they want to do, where they want to go, what it's going to do. They just need you to make the solution quicker and faster and easier. They can't do it. They know what their problem is. A lot of people don't know what their problem is. So I am always showing them, listen, there could be a multitude of different problems, but the main problem is, firstly, let's get your reputation in check. Your reputation is everything. Takes you, years to build, one day to lose. So it's like, let's get that part done right. Then after that, then it's the fun part. How do we want to leverage this new you? So it's like, imagine you going out and wanting to find the love of your life, right? I like stories. And you're overweight, you haven't had a haircut, you're wearing the same clothes from 2 years ago, and you go out to a bar with not even know how to speak. You're not going to get pretty far. Like, we all know that. But then I take you for 3 months. We get you worked out, get you better clothes, figure out the right hairstyle, get you into the art of conversation. You go out to the same bar. Now you get 10 numbers. That's exactly the same thing with your online presence. And people think it doesn't matter. Oh, I've been doing it this way for years. I'm like, yeah, great. How much have you lost by not doing it this way? How much do you think you've lost by not fixing this up? So I think a lot of people, my friend, aren't just educated because we haven't had people like me to show them, like, this is how people make decisions. Like, this is human psychology. This is not a me thing because I want your business. This is how people make decisions. And until they get that, then you can help them. But if they're closed off to not wanting change, like, I'm out,
Yeah. Totally understand. Now I want to kind of touch on your origin story as to how you got into this branding space.
Yeah, well, I came from show business, man. 15 years I was in show business, and I built a huge YouTube channel in the space of entertainment. I worked on television. I was a speaker. And, when COVID happened, obviously I lost everything, my cash, my confidence, my clients. I couldn't go out and do what I do best. There was no such thing as like, podcasting wasn't even really a thing 3 years ago, man. Like, it was, but it wasn't, And I couldn't go speak on stages. I was living in Los Angeles at the time. I'm now here in Miami. I couldn't go out and do what I was getting paid to do. So I was like, well, what am I really great at doing? I'm really great at selling myself, whatever industry I was in. I didn't have a rich dad. I didn't have a trust fund. I didn't have an agent or a manager. Like, I know how to sell people because people buy from people. So at the end of the day, whether you're selling a phone, whether you're selling a water bottle company, whether you're selling you as an investor, people want to buy from the person as much as just, I want to buy an iPhone. I'm not saying you can't just sell this, but it's easier to sell you because that's harder. That you can't relate to that, but you can relate to this. So I was just really good at selling myself. So I'm like, well, seeing as I'm good at selling myself, I bet you I could help other people. And then personal branding wasn't really a word 3 years ago. People started to understand, hey, man, maybe if more people knew me online, it may help me. And then people started doing it, and people started to model and mimic them. And that's what I do. So I take someone that is really usually good at what they do, but then only known by 15 people or their local city. And I'm like, man, you know how much money and how much legacy and how much fun you can have if you just get more people to know you? Here's the plan. Let's roll.
Yeah. That makes total sense. How has it, I mean, you started with the show business, you were a magician, right?
Yeah.
I kind of wanted to see the epiphany when you were like, oh, instead of like trying to do my own shows and, be a performer, like, I want to help other people. Like, when did that come about? And
yeah, well, I've always wanted to help other people. Like my biggest thing is my biggest big why is giving people the belief in themselves to do whatever they want to do. Like, who said you can't? No one. Like, you want to be a baker, you want to be an investor, you want to go out and own a jet ski company. Like, I don't care. What I care about is you. And like, people need more self-belief than ever in 2023. So I've always throughout my journey of entertainment, met a lot of people. Hey, what do you want to do? Let's do it. What can we, I've always been like that. So I think now, instead of me selling me, now it's like I've taken a seat as a passenger and be like, hey, you're driving the car now. I was driving before. I'm the passenger. I'm just going to tell you where to go and how to get there. So I've always loved to do it, you know. But like anything, man, humans piss me off. Like, humans are annoying. A lot of people are weak. They're scared. They're fearful. And it doesn't matter how good your pitch is. Doesn't matter how many results you have. Doesn't matter how much you pour into them. Most people, you know, I know that you prefer people being real on your show. Most people won't make it. Contradictive, right? I'm trying to give people belief in themselves, and I'm telling people they won't make it. It's not. I'm not making this up. Look around you. You know, most people are living in a land of insecurity, of self-doubt, of I'll never make it, right? And it saddens me, because like it's not as hard as people think, and it's there for everybody now. And it just concerns me, because, you know, even Tony Robbins talks about this. You know, Tony Robbins, right? If anyone's going to be the best transformational coach in the world, it's Tony. Even Tony can't do it. So if Tony can't do it, and he's at a, you know, global level, it just shows you, like, humans, it's the belief structure that we have. It's the feeling of like self-doubt, self-worth. So it bothers me sometimes, man. It really gets to me. And this doesn't matter how many follow-ups you do. Doesn't matter how much you try and be on top of them. You just got to let him go, dude. You let him go.
Yeah, totally understand. I want to talk a little bit about the beliefs. I think the beliefs, what are some beliefs that the person needs to change in order to be a person who could be the person who you see on TV, or who is on Instagram with 1 million followers?
Sure.
Or what beliefs does that person have to have?
There's a handful. The first one is obviously the belief of like their own abilities and who they are and what they do. The biggest misbelief structure that people need to have is they need to get out of their own head. Like, most people aren't thinking about you. It's all in your head. The imposter syndrome is very real. Like, why do I deserve to do this? Like, dude, have you closed a deal before? Have you been doing it for a while? You deserve, put yourself out there. And that takes a lot of time and courage. It takes a huge amount of courage to put yourself out there and be at a place where you have to put yourself out there, and you just have to go like, no one's even watching, right? They're really not watching. They're not thinking about me. And people are like, oh, what about the haters? I'm like, they don't hate. Like, someone posts a photo and you hate. Dude, that's not even real. Hate. People are like, I hate sushi. No, you had a bad experience at sushi 3 years ago because you ate it at a gas station. You don't hate sushi. Like, let's change our framing. But a lot of people use that word. It's like, I hate it. You don't hate him. You're either jealous, you either don't understand it, or you're just hungry, or you haven't had enough water. So like, that takes time. Like, I've been in this space for a long time. I've been in front of the camera and creating content for 15 years, you know, 2009 when I started YouTube. So what are we now? Yeah, 2009. Yeah, 14, 13 years, whatever it is. So I've been part of the negativity run for a long time by people. So for me now, I'm like a machine, dude. I don't I just keep my head down. So to answer your question, the hardest part is people putting themselves out there and getting out of their own way. And I don't know if there's an answer of how they can do that. I'm a big believer of jump in the deep end and drown, and you can respawn the next day. Everybody wants to play it safe, and there is no like secret of like, well, how do you deal with rejection? You don't. Like, you just don't. You're always going to feel it. It just, for most people, it's a shark bite. For me, it's an ant bite. For most people, they feel like a great white's eating them, where for me, it's just like a little prick. It's not even a bee sting anymore. Used to be like, oh, that would hurt for a day. I'm like, because I see the bigger play. Like
Mhm.
I know that if I do something and what could possibly happen for the response to that. But if you do good work and you're proud of what you do and you stand into your superpower and you believe in yourself, dude, like people are just angry because you know what it does? It brings out the feeling of, I wish I could have that. What does he have that I don't? That's why they're angry. It's a reflection of them. It's got nothing to do with you.
Mhm.
And that's extremely hard to help someone with. That takes time, man. It takes years.
Yeah. Yeah. So I want to highlight something that's important. You've worked with a lot of people that probably we always see on Instagram. And I want you to tell the audience why do the people that are up there are up there?
I like this question a lot because I always ask people, why do people make it and why do people don't make it? Like, really, why do they make it? Not like, why are they winning? Why do they constantly win? And everyone has their different perspective and their opinion. There has to be a level of like this kind of belief structure, right? Because if there's no belief, they ain't going to do it. I think they're willing to really push through that initial pain and the constant pain that it takes to push to do anything. Because it's easy for us to go get a job at KFC. Really is. Like it really is. You put out your resume to enough places and you're willing to do whatever, you'll get a job at 15 bucks an hour. Like, but to be able to stand into this like world, it's very unknown, it's very scary, and you're doing things like we're all trying to figure it out, man. You ask anybody, even if you met Elon Musk, even if you got into an honest, he'd be like, dude, I'm just trying to figure it out. I think he said that in interviews. So even at Elon's stage, he's still trying to figure it out. We're all trying to figure it out. So I think to your question, I think it's like from what I've seen, it's the consistency of willing to push through that feeling. Like it sucks, man. Like it sucks not closing a deal when someone said they're going to sign the agreement. It sucks when you put so much work into having a conversation with someone and they're super excited to work with you and they ghost you. Like it sucks. It really sucks. And you question yourself and you're like, what's wrong with me? And then you're like, should I be doing this? Like in a dialogue, right? So I think for most people, they can't handle that. So they just go, I'm out. Like I have people, man, that, work with me and I tell people like, what's my guarantee? I'm like 200% guarantee. You'll make money and you'll get what I promise you if you show up. I haven't had anyone that loses that does what I tell them. Why do people lose when they work with me sometimes? They just don't do the work. And I give them the exact plan, the exact thing to do. So it's their belief structure. It's their belief system. So yeah, I just sit with the belief system, consistency of like, yo, every day, come on. Like it's tough, man. It's tough.
Yeah.
And just to share one more thing on that, I know people are listening right now. It might be easy for me. Look, I'm not married. I don't have children. My parents live in Australia since 17 years old. I'm 35 now. I've been traveling around the world by myself. They kind of let me be the butterfly. So they let me go and fly. But I know for a lot of people, maybe from an ethnic background, maybe there's a woman listening and her family wants her to do one thing, or maybe there's a guy listening right now and their wife isn't the most supportive, or maybe she's scared, because you said to her, we'll be fine, and it hasn't been going as fine as you want it to be. And I get that. Like, I know how that feels. The people around your life, you really need the people to be bringing you up, not bringing you down. And that's really challenging. So that's why I got away from Australia, because my country is lovely and it's beautiful, but it's not meant for me. I need to be in fast pace. You can do anything. You can be it all. You can have all the money. Like, that's what I want to be around. That's why I'm in this country. Not because I want to be in America. I'm here because people are like, yo, let's go. Like, I like that.
Yeah. Yeah. So the environment's important. And
Always. Yeah.
what can someone do? Like, for example, let's say I'm building a personal brand. What can I do to get around the people that are also building a personal brand, to kind of be around the same circle of people? Because of course, we've all seen the crab in the bucket syndrome, where like someone's trying to get out, but the other crab's just trying to pull them down. But when you get into a different bucket, there's actually people helping you. You know, everybody's going up. And so
Yeah.
what are some things that someone can do like that?
Well, people need to see your value. And people won't have time for you to have a 1 hour coffee or lunch meeting for them to see it. A content strategy is super easy to do. What I love, like, there's so many variables of doing content. What you're doing now is great, right? Like, you've built did you build the whole list yourself, this whole Facebook group? Is this all you or someone else?
I partnered with the founder.
Got it. Perfect. So, but you're bringing value to the table, right? You're bringing people, like, you're creating some kind of attraction marketing that is getting people to know, like, and trust you. The greatest thing about content, other than just standing out, is that people see it. They just don't tell you. Like, they notice you're showing up. They notice you're doing good stuff. Like, the reason I'm able to get away to your question is because people know I'm making good content. Like, they see people engage with my content. They see what's working. Like, I'm giving them value that they don't have. So immediately you have this respect from them, whether they voice it, whether they don't voice it. But your digital presence is like your visual portfolio. Like, you're on top of mind all the time with these people. So I'm always big believer of, like, the easiest thing to do is creating content, and it's free. It's free. It's the easiest thing to do, the hardest thing to start. Easiest thing to do is press a button, count to 3, start talking. The hardest thing to start is because it's the thoughts, the dialogue. Like, dude, sometimes I want to whip people. I'll say that I just want to whip you. I'll slap you on your face. Get out of your head. Like, yeah. Really? Like really, like, you're scared? Like, you put yourself out there, you know?
Yeah.
Like, you're losing, you know? It's probably not the best sales close, right? But sometimes people got to hear the truth. Like, you have decided not to share your message and story with the world, and you can help so many people. Money is a tangible product because of that. But connections, confidence, courage, community, legacy. What is your grandkids? Your grandkids are going to feel when they can see dad or grandpa. Hey, look what he did. Like, as a man, that's really powerful for us. Mm-hmm. So, like, don't lose out because you don't want to put yourself out there. Like, I'm scared. Great. You don't think I was scared? You don't think other people are scared? So yeah, to your question, I think the easiest way is, like, the content strategy and consistently of doing it. Like, it ain't gonna work in a month, man. Too many people, including real estate guys, which just pissed me off. Like, how long have you been doing real estate? Oh, 3 months. Like, get it out of here. Like, you know, I've been doing this 18 years, man. Right? It's the same thing. I just been promoting a different product. Like, and I still work for free today, do speaking events, and I still do free stuff, and I still, like, and I'm in this forever. And people were like, oh, it's not working after like 4 months, and I've only spent $1,000. I'm like, yeah, whatever.
Keep trying.
yeah. And I'll just tell them straight. I'll just be like, hey, listen, this is where it's at. You know, take it. You know, believe me or don't believe me, but, you know, I'm not here to try charm you to get your business. I'm here to tell you the truth. And I'm here to tell you how it's going to work. And here's why I can talk about this, because I could look at the history. Look at me doing this for 10 plus years. Like, I'm not trying to trick you, you know?
Yeah. So I want to give the audience a plan, like something they could start. Like, yeah. If someone hasn't picked up the phone and recorded one piece of content, can we give them, like, just 5 easy content topics to talk about that they could start off, so they could, you know, at least have the tactics in place so they can just go ahead and do it?
Yeah, first video you want to do is, the biggest thing is, before you go out and tell people how great you are at something, they got to get to know you. So I always say to clients, create your who am I video. And maybe what I'll do is, after this recording, I'll send you a free template of, they can follow the script and follow the video guide we created for them. It's free, that you guys can have access to it. And it's your who am I video. Who am I, what I do, how I do what I do, and why should you care? So this is who I am. This is what I do. This is why I do what I do. And this is how, how I can help you. And, why should they care? So I always tell people to create a 60-second video. Give me your story. Like, why are you here? If you go on my Instagram right now, the first pinned post to the left-hand side is my story. So the first one should be a story. The second one should be education. Educate the market on why you're the expert in your space. But Jay, there's other people that do it. No, yeah, there is. But there's also 65 sushi restaurants around your area. There's enough other people doing what you're doing, but your audience hasn't seen it. You are selling you. So create 5 pieces of content that educates the market on an industry. Think of the content as a FAQ. What are the 5 common questions people ask you all the time? Like me, for example, what is PR? How do I grow a personal brand? What can people do with content, right? How do I stand out? How do I become more visible? All those things people ask me, I just turn that into content. Hey, one of the questions I got recently from a client is, how do I stand out? Great question. So this is what I would do. That's it. It's super simple. And then don't be afraid to be personable and be authentic. People always hate the facade of this two-faced person. I know people say stay you, but lean into your personality more. Even if you feel like you're shy or an introvert, that's also you're telling yourself that. But okay, well, if you don't have that larger than life personality, if you think you're a bit funny, lean into that. That's who you are. You're not trying to fake it. Don't try to be someone you're not. I've realized that was one of the biggest mistakes, I think. And we don't know what we don't know, right? Trying to change my personality to fit the norm. There is no norm. Dude, I'm just going to do me, right? Would you say it's fair, Julian, that you saw my content, you felt probably authenticity, or you felt a consistency of who I am? Have you felt like I'm different than the videos?
Honestly, I think it's an extension of you.
I agree. Yeah.
Totally, bring out who you are, and then when you're in person, it's a consistent thing. You're not any different, I would say.
Yeah, it's a larger than virgin life than myself. I'm like this though. If you meet me in person, I'm fun, I'm loud, but I'm going to tell it to you straight too. That's just how, with a bit of finesse and a little bit of charm. But I that's what I'm like. And can we always improve ourselves? Yeah, but the right ones will be attracted and the wrong ones will go. That's the other thing I tell people. Stop trying to close the people that don't even want to know you. Why do we do that, by the way? It's like this weird NLP rejection trick or something. No, now I want it more. Okay, see ya. That doesn't work for me anymore. All you got to do is when you start doing content, look at the people that look at you every day. Guess who your super fans are? Those people. Hey, Julian, really appreciate you watching me, man. Hey, let's have a call up to get to know you. Oh, sure. That sounds great. Anything in the future you do, guess who they're going to be right at the doorstep? Them. Yeah. But you're trying to close Jim, who doesn't even love himself, who's angry all the time. Yeah, he's got money. Dude, there's so many other people with money. This person may not have that much, but guess what? Maybe they're coming into an inheritance of 97 million in 3 weeks. You don't know that. But you've decided to push him away because he's got the bigger gold jackpot right now. Hang on a second. What about this guy? Don't forget, don't make it hard on yourself too. That's another big thing. Just don't make it hard. We put way more pressure on us than we should, including myself. And I always speak from first experience, just so we're clear,
Yeah, totally. Thank you. And one last tip. How can someone, while they're talking to the camera, feel like they're talking to a friend? How can they do that?
Well, yeah, you just kind of answered your own question, right? Speak to them like you're speaking to a friend. I know there are people listening, and I know I'm speaking to a group of people, but I'm speaking in a way where it's relatable, it's down to earth. And yes, I know I'm on a podcast, I'm speaking to you. I know there is a heightened level of I'm a speaker, so there's going to be a more of a charismatic vibe for me.
Mm-hmm.
But I always speak to people on camera like I'm just speaking to you having a coffee, or yo, man, because this whole like perfect vibe online, it scares people off. They're like, I don't know, who am I talking? Who, like, you ever speak to someone that you're like, who are they talking to right now? Like, are you speaking to a wall? Yeah. I'm like, dude, that's not how it rolls, you know? So I'm a big believer of like, and I get it. If you're not trained, when that camera, I've seen people that will do a video, that will talk to me, and then I'll put a camera in the front of their face and they change. I'm like, dude, it's the same thing. This is, so you just got to act, you really have to practice. What I would do if everybody, here's a great tip. This is actually a really good tip. Get your camera, right? Put it up, put it on a ledge, okay? Right? And then press the record button and stand there. Because if you can learn how to speak better, communicate better, you can sell better, you can close more deals, right? Practice every day. Yeah. Hey, good morning. Great to meet you. Hey, this is who I am. Press stop. Listen to yourself back. Oh, I said 17 times. I play with my hands too much. I was swaying too much. First question I always ask people, you want to become a better speaker? Great. Show me the last 30 videos you did. Send them to me right now. What do you mean 30 videos? Well, you practice, right? Oh, no, I don't. Okay.
Haven't even started.
Come back to me. You want to be better at sales? Great. Show me your sales calls.
Great. Jay, so I want to go ahead and do you have besides your Instagram, like, do you have a Facebook group or someplace, like anything that someone can go check out your stuff, maybe get a free checklist from you or something like that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Can you tell us about it, where we can find you?
Yeah, look, for all the people listening right now who feel like, hey, Jay, I get it. I want to make this sales cycle shorter. I want to raise money quicker. I want to leave a legacy, and I know I got to put myself in there. I just don't know what to do, but I've got the money. I want to work with the right person who gets it. I'd love to speak with you, and I'm all about giving value for free. Go to Ace of Spades Agency.com. Ace of Spades, like a playing card, agency.com. And, you can have a call with me, and then I can also send you some information for free as well on how to get started.
Great. Amazing. Thank you, Jay. And for the listener that's listening right now, if you really enjoyed this conversation with JJ, I really want you to send him a message on Instagram or send him a message in his email on the website and just thank him for the value you gave today and check out some of his free stuff. I hope that Jay's a speaker that frequents our podcast. So hopefully you got some value out of this. And thank you, Jay. Hoping for the next one.
Thank you.